friend of mine in her 40s, smart, successful, and attractive, said something really that was frustrating her. She said, "What's wrong with men these days?" She kind of rattled off this complaint, and I constantly hear this from women. Why can't men commit? Why aren't they direct and know what they want? And she said, "I want marriage, I want a family. So why do they play games? Why do they use you and leave you and dump you and not want a relationship?" Now, she's not the first woman to share this complaint. I have many women in their 30s and their 40s say the same thing to me. Then my friend showed me her dating profile, and I went, "No, what? No, you cannot put this on there," because what she put on the dating profile was exactly what she was experiencing. Guys wanting to use her. Now, here's what most people won't tell you. The problem isn't that men want to commit. It's that there's something going on much deeper. Now, are these women delusional or is the dating market broken? Guys, welcome to the Nice Guy Show. I'm your host, Faisal, and I'm joined with Ari and Chuck Chapman. So three of us are coaches dedicating to helping nice guys develop the confidence and the skills to get what they want in love, sex, and life. So guys, she's obviously having a lot of discussion. And in this episode, I want to do something different. I want to talk about the problems that women are facing in a way so that we can learn ourselves the problems that we are facing. So she's obviously successful. She is doing things well in her life, making the money, but she's having a lot of challenges in her life. So guys, what's going on here? Ari?
So she said that, or you said that when you looked at her dating profile, it was like a lot of complaints. It was complaining about the situation.
So she was just complaining that, when she goes out, she meets guys, she goes on dates, and she can get the guys. She says, "I have no problem meeting really amazing, cool, successful guys, hot guys." She says, but they just don't want to commit. They don't want to settle down, start a family,
But
but
she
they
talks
will.
about this in her dating profile.
No, she doesn't say this in the dating profile. So in her dating profile, she had a few things. I don't want to share what they were, but there's some things in the dating profile. I said, you cannot put this in there. This is like a no-no, right? So she was putting it kind of like things that would allude that, she was frustrated. So negative aspects. And then she was also putting things on that guys will say, "Oh, she sounds like a good time girl, not a long time girl."
I see. So yeah, I mean the frustration about dating is a big turnoff to me, and I think to most men. I mean, what do you think you're going to attract if you come off frustrated about dating life? You're probably gonna attract men who I think might want to please you or stay on your good side, for one. I mean, what do you think that attracts?
What do you think, Chuck? We'll go to that, but I've got some
Well, I think
opinions on what's going
having
on.
a little bit difficult time understanding the question when I don't know what she wrote in her profile. It sounds like you're saying, well, what is the problem here? And I don't know what the problem is because I don't know what the profile.
So the problem, regardless of the profile, the complaint is that I can date the guys, I can go on dates, I can sleep with them, but they won't commit. I can't get them to marriage, can't get them to start a family. So
why
it's not
buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
What does that mean? I know what it means, though.
Well, I mean, you can sleep with guys, right? But then they don't want to commit. I mean, it is kind of a biological kind of thing where, guys want to have sex and women want to have more of a commitment, which makes sense because if you're procreating in a very kind of primal type of way, you want that commitment. But biologically, men can have, multiples of children, or women can have one every 9-10 months or so. So I think if you're sleeping with somebody on a first or second date, that just kind of gives away right away that you're not really looking for somebody. You're not looking for commitment. But
Whoa. So sleeping. So if she didn't sleep with
you
them
just
straight away, it might set a different tone.
Hmm?
So if she didn't sleep with him on the first or second date, would that set like a different tone or signal something different?
Probably. I mean, she's looking for commitment, but she's, the commitment comes, I think, after, there's been some bonding that's happened. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not judging her. I mean, I'm just kind of like, if you're, I know back in my dating days, and this is, not saying this is right at all, but if I could sleep with a woman on a first or second date, then to me, she wasn't somebody that I wanted to have for a long time. And I just think just maybe part of it is just like the challenge, or maybe part of it is like the,
You can't say something like that.
I,
You'll get crucified on the internet.
I know. But I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that like that was
How you
my
thought, right?
mentality, and that was the mentality of the guys that, in the locker room. That's just how it is. And I don't know. It's been a while since I've been dating, so maybe I'm just stuck in an
What
old
about you, Ari? Ari, would
framework.
you do you have the same mindset, or is yours different? She sleeps with you on the first night. It's just like,
Not exactly. I mean, I think you're not, if you sleep together on the first or second date, you're speeding things up into a relationship, or what looks like a relationship, too quickly before you've gotten to know someone. And I think that can overwhelm men. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. When you jump into bed with someone quickly, first, second, third date, um, it can start to feel like a relationship before you've gotten to know them. So I think that's part of why it's helpful for men and women to slow things down a little bit, to progress things step by step sexually. So that might be part of why she's falling into this pattern of, it looks like men want a commitment, but then they back out. And it looks like they want to play games, but what she's doing is, and really what both of them are doing, is that they're moving too quickly and then probably getting overwhelmed. That's my
That was
my
much
guess.
more eloquently said than the way I said it, Ari.
yeah, it is.
Well, it's
So
only because I've had the cow quickly, or whatever you said.
You've
I've
had a
made
lot of
this-
milk.
quickly.
You had a lot of milk.
You've
I've
had the
made
milk
them
quickly.
For the cow.
I've made the mistake more than once. So
So the reason why I bring this problem up, because this is a problem that a lot of, I do get women sending me these messages, and I have, a lot of female friends who are in their 30s and their 40s, and they're successful. They're doing well. They're like, Faisal, we have the degrees, we have the career, we have the money. I'm independent. I've got my apartment, everything else, everything's in order. But it's just the guys. And she says, there's another girl who's also pretty, hasn't got anything working for her, but men are proposing to her. Men are just, falling over for them. So these girls are going, what's going on? Where am I going wrong? So have you ever coached any, maybe a woman, or experienced that maybe in friendships, or maybe you were on the other side where you help guys understand that, they're saying, well, I'm meeting a lot of girls, but I don't want to commit to. So have you got any of those experiences?
Is
This is
there
the
who's supposed to answer this question?
Oh, either of you guys.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Ari.
I thought you were talking to Chuck.
Go, Chuck, let me go with you.
Well, what's the question again?
It's like, so have you, okay, let's start this part. So we might have to edit this part again. So have you experienced women who've said the same thing as well? I'm successful. I'm doing everything right, doing well, career's good, job's good, success is, I've got everything, but I just can't get the man. But she has friends who doesn't have the career, isn't that academic, but she is getting guys, like really high value men, proposing to her.
Have I come across that?
Yeah.
I have not
Well,
come across that, so I don't know how
either
to
of
answer
you.
that.
What about you, Ari?
Well, I mean, who decides what's a high value man? I mean, obvious things like
Well, who decides a low value man?
yeah, but yeah, I mean, there are women who might be conventionally less attractive, but still able to get into relationships and get a man to marry them. I mean, I think that's a little that's not necessarily scratching the surface about the quality of their relationship. I mean, I think really high value women, attractive women, they also, I don't know if this is part of what you're getting at, Faisal, but they can be very picky. And they may be very particular about what they're looking for. I mean, that's one of the things that I see gets in the way for um, high value women is all the all the different lists of criteria that they're looking for. I mean, is that what happened with your lady friend?
Yeah. So let me just fill in some of the things that I've seen and the conversations I've seen. So what I noticed was that these women are doing really well in life and they start becoming more picky. That's for sure. The selection process gets more tougher and tougher. And as they are also evolving, they're growing, the guys that they're starting to seek are also, there's a term called hypergamy. You probably heard this on social media where, women just want to date equal or above. What then starts happening, and I noticed this as well, that she's looking for these really amazing guys. And that kind of pool gets smaller and smaller because these guys are successful, tall, attractive, making it, killing in business or their career. So as the women are becoming more successful, their pool is getting smaller, and the guys who are getting a lot of these attentions, what I notice is that they're going, well, we have abundance of choice. So they're usually going in choice paralysis, or they're going, I'm just having so much fun. I don't want to commit. It's too much stress, too much hassle. So they're going into either of these kind of situations.
It's
And
like
when they're
it's
going
like
to
a kid in a milk store. Yeah.
Chocolate milk.
A kid in a dairy farm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the kid's going, well, I've got so many options. Why do I want to tie down so quickly? But also, you've got these women who are. The thing is, the competition for these women is getting tougher and tougher and tougher, and their expectation is that I still want this amazing guy, and I am worthy of what this guy is. And a lot of messages that these women kind of like tell me is, well, I'm worth it. I'm amazing. I'm great. So why he should be, this is the word that they use, he should be committing to me. He should start a family with me. And if he doesn't, he's the problem. He's wrong. So what would you say to someone who said that to you?
Well, one of the things I have seen, and this is on the flip side of it, working with men, complaint that I get a lot from guys who are, especially the higher level, um, the woman is, the more professional she is that she doesn't actually have time for him. Like he tries to set things up, and she's busy, and he's busy, and so trying to coordinate their calendars oftentimes is kind of a nightmare, and then they don't actually end up seeing each other a lot. So if you've got a high value man, somebody who is, high achiever, constantly working, that kind of thing. And then a woman who's kind of that similar kind of thing, the complaint I hear most often is that she doesn't have time for me and we can't make our schedules work. And so they just kind of get bored and find somebody else whose schedule does work. So I think, going back to your friend, and I don't know if this is the problem, but she's seen other women who are less successful, quote, successful, able to, and it just might be an availability kind of thing. And I think also if you get, especially women who are of a certain age, who are maybe, have children or, second marriages, those kind of things, then it becomes even more difficult to coordinate the time. So I don't know if that's her problem, but it's one problem that I've seen on my end with the guys that I work with is their complaint is she doesn't have time for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Time is one thing. I think the biggest problem is that it's, does he want to buy what's selling? And here's one of the most difficult thing is that people don't understand the dating market. So imagine this. You've got a guy who part-time job in a local, I don't know, DIY store or something. He's overweight, plays computer games, not really the kind of guy going out there killing it and, lives in his mom's basement. Just talk about the kind of stereotypical incel or something, right? And then he comes up to you and says, well, these women are delusional. What's wrong with them? They don't want to commit to me. They don't even look at me. They don't want me, and I'm an awesome person. I am a catch. What's wrong with them? What would you say to that guy?
I would say clean your shit up, man. You're looking for a unicorn, and if you want to attract a unicorn, you got to be a unicorn. You have to be the kind of person that's going to attract that. You know, if you're overweight and you're not very self-motivated, and yeah, why would anybody want that?
Yeah,
So I would encourage them to go to the gym, get their act together, get out of the basement, get outside.
Okay.
Be. Someone told me a long time ago. It was basically like you want to try to maintain your attractiveness so that you are attractive to each other. So, and I think that happens a lot of times in marriages where, people get committed to each other and then they sort of let themselves go. And we see that happen quite a bit. But,
Yeah.
the same thing is true if you're single and you're looking for a 10 and you're a 3, just the math equation doesn't add up. So, you know, be who you want, be the kind of person that you would want to date.
Yeah, that's good advice. Good advice. What about Yari?
well, you're the man you described kind of begs the question. I mean, he seems to have an unrealistic, distorted view of himself. Is that part of what's happening to women? Is that they're inflating their own value in the market or inflating their own positive qualities?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's kind of subjective, but I think this is a relatively common issue. That we can't really see ourselves clearly.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on, is that we're putting the value on buy based on our own kind of thinking rather than what the market is putting on. That's like taking a certain watch or something and then saying, well, I like it and it's worth X, Y, and Z, but the market value of that certain watch will only, yield so much. So you have these guys who have a distorted image of themselves and they valued us, and there's a just massive discrepancy between that. Because the advice I gave her was, I said, the problem isn't the guys. The
Did you
problem
tell her
is,
you're not actually a 9, you're actually a 6? Is that what you told her?
I told her that she has unrealistic expectations. I said, first of all, I said, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you're selling, right? I said, of course it matters to you. Yes. But you can't dictate to the buyer whether the buyer should buy that or not. And I said, once you understand this process, then you will understand that where you are in the marketplace. And this kind of contradicts a lot of the advice, the person development, the feminist advice. Oh, you're amazing, you're worth it. Don't let anybody tell you that. You are. I'm not saying you're not that kind of person, but I'm saying is you have to understand is what you want to select. Will it want to select you? And if it doesn't consistently want to select you, then you have to understand is that you have this delusional, unrealistic expectation. This is like the guy on the sofa sitting there eating pizza, and he's like, "Why don't these tens models, lingerie models, why don't they want to date me?" But I was saying, well, is that what they want to date? Is that what they would select? So I said you have to reverse engineer that. What are they looking for? What are the signals? What kind of things that would they get interested in, curious about? And would I want to make them commit to you? Because if you just live in a delusional world where you can't see the coherence of what you're offering, then of course you're gonna have this struggle. And then I said to her, you have traits do you have the traits that the guys are looking for to commit to? So obviously these guys are committing to other women. What is it that they have? I mean, and you looked at them, well, they were more nurturing focused than they were trying to kill it in business. I said, well, that's because they're more feminine. And if he's more masculine, he's going to seek more feminine, which is why you're seeking a more masculine guy. These women prioritized home life, nurturing life, family life, then they try to nurture that. And I said, well, if that's what it's important to him, he's going to focus on that. So it's always going back to like, what is it that they want, and are you the suitable selected, or do you have the to be selected for that? And it was really hard for her to take this in. And it's not the first conversation we had. And I said, look, you have to really understand it's not about you. Get it out of your fucking head. This is quite self-absorbed and quite narcissistic. It's like they should be. And you said, you're forcing on a choice and a selection to somebody else and value. I said, no, let them, they'll value what they value, like you value what you value. And then you have to understand how to meet in that market. So that was a conversation I had.
So I'm
She
really
reluctantly,
curious, yeah, about how did she take that?
she didn't like it. She didn't like it. And one of the things I noticed was that here's another pattern. Again, this is just my observation of the women conversations I've had. These women who struggle a lot but kill it in business have a lot of controlling problem. They love to control situation and circumstances. They are control freaks. They have high expectations, as in entitlement. It's like, this is what I'm entitled to. I'm not just saying women just have this, guys have this too, right? So again, this falls on both sides. It's not just one side, but there's a lot of control. There's a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of uh, disconnection from what reality is, disconnecting from what the market is, and disconnected from what the world is, because they use a word and term, and you'll hear this in their language. It should be this way. It should be that way. It should be that way. So when someone's using should be, they haven't actually adapted or grown up to realize that the world works in a different way. So what they're doing is they're trying to force the game to be a certain way rather than understand how to play the game, whether it's dating, business, relationships, sports, whatever it is. So that was a conclusion. So I'm looking. I did help her correct some of the stuff on her dating app, so a dating profile, because I said this just will reek of it. I said, but you have to do some internal work, because I felt sad for her because she's in her 40s now. She wants a family. She wants kids. And I said, I said, I'm going to be really direct with you because I'm not going to mince my words here. I said, you're in your mid 40s and you want to have a child. She said, yeah. I said, let's just look this at the guy's point of view. So he's going to get in a relationship with you. He's going to spend some time trying to see if you're a suitable partner or not. That's going to take a few more years. But the time you figure all that out, you could be in your you could be in your 50s. And then you want to have kids? And I'm like, I'm not saying no. I'm saying, is that a good proposition for him?
Well, and on top of that, I think, if she's in her 40s, unless she's dating somebody that's in their 20s, she's probably going to be dating somebody that's in their 40s as well, who probably already has children from a different relationship and isn't necessarily wanting to have, start out again at 40, 45 years old and, changing diapers and raising a small baby. So maybe that part of it too is if there's that drive within her to procreate, that finding somebody who's maybe finding somebody in the marketplace who is interested in that, like you said, was going to be harder to find because she's either going to need to find somebody that's much younger, which if somebody's much younger, then they may or may not be attractive to somebody that's older, or she's going to have to find somebody in the similar demographic and they're probably already have kids. So to find a man that's in his 40s who doesn't have kids and wants to start a family, it might be kind of a tall order.
Well,
yeah, I mean, something has to give, right?
Yeah. Well, to piggyback on what you're saying, Chuck, I think there's a good amount of men now, professional men in their 40s, who are now ready to settle down and have a family, but they may not be wanting a woman who's in her mid 40s.
Right.
The pregnancy is going to be challenging, and they, like you're saying, they might want a couple of years to get to know her and develop the relationship and make sure it's right for them. And then she's getting older, so that they might want to select for a woman in her uh early to mid 30s, where it's not a geriatric pregnancy. Yeah, it's like it's considered a geriatric pregnancy at 35 and older, when a woman is 35 and older, so that's another consideration, and another challenge for this woman.
Yeah.
I feel sorry I feel sorry for her, but I also said, look, there's going to be some trade-offs you have to do. So if you're looking to start a family and you want this, do you still want the guy to be earning, six figures, really high six figures, and have an amazing body and have all of these things? I said, something has to give, but I'm not prepared to do it. I'm like, well, then you're going to continue the same path. If you continue to do the same thing, you're going to continue that, and then you're just going to regret your life even more and more. So until you wake up, this is the same challenge with all the guys I work with as well, and myself. It's like you have to wake up to reality and understand what's going on, and then really adapt. People who find it very difficult to adapt to the dating market are constantly bitching, complaining, moaning about it, right? And they're not getting the results. Survival is often the most adaptable, not the fittest, right? It's often the most adaptable, somebody who can really adapt to this. Guys, thank you so much. And again, what I want to do is just bring some more problems, real life problems to the Nice Guy Show as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you can like, subscribe, and maybe send this to somebody who actually needs to hear this message as well. And if you're watching this on
maybe your friend
Spotify,
needs to watch this.
yeah, she's gonna have we're gonna have a proper sit down on this as well. I think she's finally open to listen, which has taken. I think she's paid a grave price for the fact that she's going to open. So, all right, gents, and we'll see you on the next episode.